Hello, Miss Reynolds math students. This video is to introduce Math 2 Unit 1, transformations, objectives, prior knowledge, rule sheet, and identifying transformations. So this will be the video I want you guys to watch on Monday, August 24th, in preparation for our 1.1 translations assignment. Some of these due dates are going to have to be a little bit flexible as we go through and I can see what is going to be a good pace for class. So everybody should have this page and I want you to read each skill and we're going to only be filling in this left side. We're not going to fill in the after side. So I want you guys to fill in this page and I will collect it from you when I see you in class. So cohort A, you'll have time to do this in class Monday and Tuesday. Cohort B, I expect you to do this on Monday and I will collect it from you on Thursday and Friday. And we have these questions down here. This is not a quiz. This is just for me to see how you guys can think a little harder about how this can be used and what some of this means. If you're not sure, just do your best. You can Google if you want. That's fine if we want to use those resources so we can try and come up with some educated and informed responses to these 4 questions at the bottom. So that's all we're doing with this page. We're going to read the skill and select whether we feel somewhat confident, not very confident, or very confident. So it's just 1, 2, or 3. And we're going to revisit this at the end of the unit and see how far we've come with these skills. So that's it for our objectives page. This prior knowledge page is the backside of your objectives page. So we need to graph the triangle with those vertices. You guys's does have the vertices filled in. So this is a digital copy that does not have that filled in. Your copy does have vertices on your graph to identify. Graphing the line, writing the equation. Ooh, this one I did forget. So for number 4, I want us to write the equation of this line. So you'll have to watch this video to see what this line is for number 4. So if you guys don't watch this video, I will know because you'll be confused about what to do for number 4. So I want you to write the equation of the line drawn for number 4. How many degrees in a full rotation? Which way is clockwise? Recalling the distance formula. So this is the backside of your objectives page. Everybody got this page week 1. I expect this to be done on Monday. This is part of your Monday assignment. Then we have our rule sheet. So this is going to be our reference for the first part of this packet. We have reflections, talk about point of symmetry, the definition of isometry, translations, rotations, and dilations. So these rules are going to be important for us to memorize. So notice that when I'm reflecting across the x-axis, it's the y value that changes. When I reflect across the y-axis, it's the x value that changes. This one, reflecting across the origin, we're not going to use as much, but it is important to understand that we're just going to change both x and y. So if you ever see that, that's what that means. Reflecting across the diagonal, y equals x, we're just going to switch the places of x and y. Excuse me. And if we were reflecting across the line y equals negative x, we're going to switch the places of x and y and change the sign. So we have a point of symmetry. Test by rotating an object 180 degrees and see if it looks the same. So we'll discuss symmetry. That'll be in the second half of this unit. So isometry preserves the congruence. So it's not going to change any of the side lengths or angles, also known as a rigid transformation. So translations, this is where we're starting. So this is 1.1. Reflections is 1.2. And rotations is 1.3. And dilations is 1.4. So with translations, we need to understand that this is the algebraic form. So understand that if I'm going to the right, that's positive, left is negative, up is positive, down is negative. We also need to understand the meaning of vertical and horizontal. So understand that this X direction is horizontal. Always think the sun sets over the horizon. Think about sunset. And then we have the Y direction is vertical. And here I think about jumping. So I was an athlete. I played volleyball. So I think about my vertical jump going up and down. Then we have our rules for rotations. These are going to be very important for us to memorize and understand that if I go 90 degrees clockwise, it's the same as 270 degrees counterclockwise. So this is going to be something that when I use my Quizlet terms is going to help us study and memorize these rules. So here, these statements here are important. So we talk about composite, that'd be multiple transformations. So a composite of reflections with respect to two parallel lines. So if I were to reflect a figure across two parallel lines, that could be the same as a translation. A rotation is a composite of reflection with respect to two intersecting lines. So here, translation is reflecting across parallel lines. Rotation is reflecting across intersecting lines. So when we do our Desmos class activity, there will be some assessment of you guys' ability to use those composite transformations to map the figure where it needs to go. Then we have dilations. We're talking about either enlarging or reducing a figure. And this is just talking about the absolute value. So the positive or negative value of R is not relevant. I'm not ever going to have to worry about a negative dilation. That's not going to affect our, whether it's enlarging or reducing. What is going to matter here is it greater than 1? So if it's a fraction, then it's going to be a reduction. So if I multiply something by a half, it's going to get smaller. If I multiply something by 2, then it's going to get bigger. So understanding that our notation here is we would multiply C, R, whatever the variable is for our scale factor to assess the dilation. And last but not least, to go over for this video, this identifying transformation page is also in your packet. I want us to complete today. Very simple. If it's a translation, it's just going to be slid one direction or the other. Reflection, we're going to clearly see a line that mirror effect. And then with a rotation, it's going to be turned. So for these two, it's all about the orientation. Does it have a different orientation? So here I am going to use some abbreviations just because these lines are really short. So here, I'm going to try and either draw my line of reflection or identify the direction of my rotation. So here I have, there's a clear line of reflection there. Here I can see this figure is clearly turned, so that's clearly a rotation. This one is clearly just slid over, so that's going to be a translation. Here we have this one's clearly translated over. Here we can identify this line of reflection. I can see here that this is turned on its side, so there's a rotation. Then we have here another one where we can clearly see it's turned. This one is slid over, so that's a translation. This one has that line of reflection there. This one is clearly turned on its side. rotation. Here we can draw that line of reflection there. And then here we can see this one is just translated over. So make sure we have this page filled in. And that's going to conclude this first video introduction covering our objectives. Make sure you guys complete the prior knowledge. I'm collecting that page, reviewing the rules, and this quick identifying transformations page. Next video will be covering ID 1 notes page for number 1 through 10, 1.1 translations.